Hello everyone, my name is Bhagyashri. I'm the Palo Alto trainer for you today. So we have conducted last session last weekend. I'm not sure any of you have attended that or not. I would just like to know if you guys have basic idea of networking, like not exactly a deep networking, just understanding of protocols, what firewall does, what are the different products in networking, right? So routing, switching, firewalls, and other technologies. So I would just like to know if anyone, all are welcome to talk. So we can have a little 5 minutes chat, and then we can further. I'll start with the course again. So, yes, I would like to know what kind of experience you have. Do you guys have a prior experience or not? Or do you have little understanding of network and networking background? Um, shall we start?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Bhagyashri.
Hi, Abdul. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm fine, Bhagyashri, and thank you. And today I joined in the first day, so I just want to. I'm working as a ERP technical consultant. So
Okay.
for last 5 years, I'm working as the ERP technical consultant, and I have very less knowledge about this technical support and firewall. So in my
Okay.
company, they are using
So,
14 net,
yeah,
something like
that's
that.
all right. So Fortinet and Palo Alto, the base idea is same entirely. It is just the vendor is different. If you can understand the firewall technology, you can handle any of the product. It doesn't matter whether you're managing Fortinet or Cisco or Palo Alto. So we will start with the basics. Anyhow, I'll start with fundamentals of firewalls, uh, how it works, and then we will proceed with what is the architecture of the firewall, Palo Alto firewall, and then we'll proceed further. Yes, good to know, Abdul, that you have experience and have a little bit idea of IT infrastructure. Uh, anyone is open to talk?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah,
Bhagyashri, can I ask one question?
yeah, sure.
So, how long you are experienced in the firewall?
Okay. So I have around 7 years of experience. I have around four to 5 years of experience purely on the Palo Alto tech. So I was working with uh, all of the APAC, EMEA, and was handling North American customers. And then I moved to Deloitte. So in Deloitte, I was managing stakeholders, managing their entire IT infrastructure, and uh, providing them kind of a consultant with regards to the Palo Alto infrastructure. So yes, this is all about my
Great.
experience. Currently, I'm staying at Ireland. So here I'm working as a network consultant, and yeah, again, my role
Not
is
audible.
with, sorry,
Your voice is not audible.
okay, not audible. Just give me a
You
moment.
are clear. I think you need to check DL from your side. Bhagyashri, you are properly audible.
Okay, sure. All right, thank you. Mm, yeah. All right then. So this is all about me. Yeah, let's begin with the class considering we'll definitely start with the basics, and if you have uh as it is a combo session, so if you start learning CCNA basics that the first session has taken, right? So and then start learning the Palo Alto firewall mutually, it would be a good benefit for you guys. So let me
Bhagyashri, can I have one? Sorry for interrupt. Yeah, I am
yeah,
disturbing you
sure.
in between.
No problem.
So,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I just want to know about after this firewall session, how many sessions total, and
It's
what will
45
be
days session.
45
Yes,
days?
yes.
Okay, what will be the conclusion after this course? Can we what level should we expect after? Let it be. We will practice, not an issue. 5 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour, we can practice. So, what can we can achieve after firewall session is, it's a very important session if you go any of the company. You should know the firewall is very much important. So we should
Yeah,
know.
I totally get your point. So what I would say you will be with the advanced to expert level in the firewall so that I can give a surety. I'll be teaching you all the debugging sessions and also we'll be going through some of the practical scenarios that we will
Mm.
be going through in our training session and also after once we complete the course you can apply the multiple job roles. Either it can be in the IT infrastructure core and IT infrastructure where you will be managing multiple devices like a router, switch, firewalls, kind of a data center job. Uh, and also you can apply through any of your network engineer role, network security engineer roles, and as well as you can apply for multiple product-based companies like Zscaler, Netscope, Palo Alto, uh, and there are different networking product-based companies. There are a lot in India. So yeah, so you will have a multiple opportunities open for you guys once you have a firewall skill set in your resume. I hope it answered your question, Abdul. Let me
Yeah,
know
yes,
if you
Bhagyashree.
have.
No, that's I'm fine. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, sure. Let me know if you any one of you have any other questions before we start.
Yeah, all good. You can start the session, please.
All right, sure. Thank you. Um, I'm going to just give a little bit recap of our previous session. If you guys are not able to understand at any point, feel free to interrupt and ask questions in between. So the Palo Alto Firewall. So first, I would like first of all, let's understand what is firewall, why we need it, right? So the firewall is a basic, which is a network device, network component that we can say where it filter out the packet, right? Whatever the ingress traffic or egress or trust or untrust that we say, so the traffic which it filters out. So always the firewall, suppose let's say that this is your system, okay? And so you are somewhere reaching on the internet, right? So whenever you are trying to reach towards the internet, as there are multiple bad persons or any sort of malwares or malicious content that can be available on the internet because it's open. So for this reason, whatever you're trying to search, for this reason, the traffic should be filtering out. So for that reason, always on the exterior side, always on towards the internet, we place our firewall. So the firewall can be any firewall. So suppose let's say not just think about a simple example that you have in your system on your Windows system. Let's say that Windows Defender that you guys have. So suppose let's say you are reaching to any unwanted sites or maybe downloading some malicious content or some files from the internet that you are unaware that it has some malware or something, right? So when you're trying to download, your Windows Defender will always try to avoid it or it will always try to stop it because there are certain predefined rules that has been set on your device that those rules are blocking those kind of a signatures hashes that has in that file. So that's the simple example, and the same example you need to apply to your company organization, enterprise level or data center level. So the same concept applies. How it applies is this is just a one user, I would say, but like this you have thousands of users who are connecting towards the internet from your data center. So all of these users traffic is always traversing through this firewall. So it always crosses the firewall and then it sends out the traffic. What the firewall will do, suppose let's say the user one is reaching towards the facebook.com right? So if the firewall has that rule to allow that traffic towards the internet, so if this has a rule number 1 to allow the traffic to send towards the internet, then he will be allowed to reach towards the internet. Otherwise, the traffic is blocked. So the same way you can place multiple rules on the firewall to reach certain websites or maybe applications or towards the internet. So or maybe you have a different branch over here, one in India, another one is in maybe US. So how you build a communication between these two sites, right? These two sites. So because if the user one over India and the another user two in US, if these two wants to communicate, we have to communicate through internet. Okay, so if we are going on the internet is the open source, anybody can see all the informations. So whatever the important files, folders, or any important messages that you are sending from India to US, if you once the information goes out on the internet, it can be leaked, or the hacker can modify that information and can send a false information to the other user too. So for that reason, what we will do, we will build a IPsec tunnel over here, which is IP over security. Okay, so if we build IPsec tunnel between these two sites, we can have a secure communication between two sites. So how we can build a two-site communication? We can place one firewall over here and another firewall over the other side. And between these two firewalls, if we build a IPsec tunnel, whatever the traffic that it goes, will always travel through this tunnel itself. It will not go outside of this tunnel. So once the traffic enters to this tunnel, it is encrypted. So those encryption decryptions will happen on the firewall. So we will see those once we start our session in our practical scenarios. So this is the basic idea of firewall, how it works, and why we need it. So why we need a firewall is because for the for the protection, or maybe for filtering out the traffic. What exactly the firewall will do? It will inspect the traffic. It will always inspect the traffic, and the purpose of the firewall is to inspect the traffic, whatever the traffic that you are sending out and coming in. So this traffic is inspected by the firewall. So there are two types of firewall. One is stateless firewall, another one is stateful firewall. So what stateless firewall is? So whatever the traffic that is going out towards the internet, that information is not remembered by the firewall. So that is called a stateless firewall. If this whatever the traffic which is going out, and suppose let's say the user one information, IP address, system information, MAC address, and user ID, which website he is trying to reach, what file he is trying to send. So all these informations are stored on the firewall. It will remember the traffic, and once the reply comes back, it will check out that same session and it sends back that information to the same user. So if these informations are remembered by the firewall, then that's a stateful firewall. If these informations are not remembered by the firewall, do the processing of the packets or just filtering out the traffic, then that's called a stateless firewall. So this is about basics of firewall, why we need it, what are the types of firewall, and the general information. So let's start with the Palo Alto firewalls and how the architecture looks like. So we understand now, right? The firewall is needed to filter the packets. The firewall is needed to inspect the traffic. How those packets are inspected, what exactly goes inside the machine, how each and every packet that is going into the firewall, how it is how the machine is exactly trying to filter those, right? So that's where it comes to very important aspect, that we need to learn the architecture of the Palo Alto firewall. right? So any questions till now?
Bhagyashree,
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I
Yeah.
have one question. So I
Mm-hmm.
see there is a lot of time I see there is network layer, firewall layers.
Okay.
So how we are considering this layer one, layer two, layer three?
Okay. So that's actually a basics of OSI model and the TSI, TCP/IP
Okay,
model. So that
firewall
you will
layers.
learn. Yeah.
No, no, I have okay, there is some protection
Mm.
layer or something.
Okay.
Firewall, and I see a lot of
Uh,
times in some in movies there is they break firewall level one, level two, level three.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what firewall levels. There are like next generation firewalls, application based firewalls, and there are wildfires. So, if you, I mean, maybe in movies or something, they have told in a generalized terms, but if you have heard about the term called zero trust network, right? So these are the
Yeah,
layers of protection that you need to apply to achieve the zero trust network. So for example, zero trust network is not a device, it's just a technology. So if you want to achieve the zero trust network, you need to go through different um, sets or maybe hurdles to cross, right? So for the first,
mm,
suppose let's say if you want to achieve the zero trust network, the first step is to set up a firewall, and the next step is to add a multi-factor authentication, and then next step is to add a VPN setup, right? The client VPN that you need to set on all the users, and there may be Okta authentication, authorizations. So all these different layers. I will not say layers, but maybe different types of hurdles that you need to cross to achieve the zero trust network. And these are, I think you may be talking about that, or I'm not sure. But coming to the firewall part, if you're talking about different types of firewalls, then these are like application-based firewall, virtualization firewalls, like those are software-based firewalls, hardware-based firewalls, and wildfires, antivirus protection,
if
spyware
some, for
protection.
example, Bhagyashree, if if someone hack, someone break our firewall. Okay, someone they hacked our firewall and he break the firewall.
Mhm.
So can he able to access all our servers?
Um, it depends. If just
Because
firewall is, it depends completely. If the just firewall is compromised, then
mm,
inside the firewall, so whatever the traffic that you're sending in, sending out, it may be not only dependent on the firewall, it can be dependent always on the other parts, like I said, multi-factor authentication, VPNs. So by logging into the firewall, by getting into the firewall, the person who had compromised that device may have got the access to the firewall and got all the informations like server IP address, or maybe the rules that we have set, or maybe the VPN information. So he may try to log into all these servers, but I would not say 100% it would be like compromised situation if the firewall is gone. There are
okay,
other factors that we need to consider in this.
okay, that's fine.
All right,
Thank you.
sure. Okay. So let's start discussing about the architecture of the Palo Alto Firewall. Um, Can anyone confirm if any one of you have joined my previous sessions, or else I'll try to explain in detail. So that's the reason I'm just asking. All right, considering all want to study about the Palo Alto architecture, so let me start with um, understanding what inside how the firewall process the packet. So what is packet? Packet is nothing but, suppose let's say from one device to the other device, you are sending a large chunk of data, like 1 GB of data, right? So entire 1 GB cannot be sent to the destination in one go. So these 1 GB of data can be divided into 10 different packets, 10 different sessions. So those are numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each time the first packet is sent, the acknowledge needs to be returned, received by the receiver. And the next one, when the second packet has been sent, the client will respond with the acknowledgement. So this is called a TCP handshake, or this is called a TCP, um, uh, the way of TCP protocol works, right? TCP handshake is completely a different thing. I mean, that TCP handshake will happen before the data transfer. So once they agree on, if they agree on what kind of a data they want to receive, what is the bandwidth it has, the session ID, so everything, this TCP handshake process is SYN, SYNAC, and ACK. So the client sends a SYN packet. Okay. Client sends a SYN packet, and the server responds with SYNAC, and then again the client sends acknowledgement. So this is TCP handshake process. After the TCP handshake process, actual data transfers happens. So what data transfer? I said 1 GB of data. Suppose if you're transferring 1 GB of data, those data, I mean, entire 1 GB, maybe this device is not capable enough of taking that entire 1 GB of data, because this device may be busy in serving some other processes, right? So not only it can't be dedicate all of its resources just to receive your information, right? So it may be busy in processing some other uh, requests as well. So that's the reason they will agree that they will send out 10 different packets, right? So all those 10 different packets, whenever the data sent from client to server, the acknowledgement needs to be sent from this side as well, so that the client gets to know the packet 1 has been reached, packet 2 has been reached, packet 3 has been reached. Okay, these are called packets, and these packets are that's what the packet inspection that I told you, when the firewall is inspecting the packets. So these all different packets it will inspect. So the first thing, let's understand the Palo Alto Firewall has two planes, right? So one is control plane and another one is management plane. Okay. So what is management plane? Suppose let's say you get a new firewall in your hand, that you are working as a network engineer. So you get a new firewall in your hand. You need to configure the firewall IP address and then put that into the rack. And then now next you need to configure that with your company policy, however they wish to configure it. So once you get a firewall, what you will do, you will assign a IP address for that. You'll connect a console cable and you will assign an IP address for that. So all these configurations, initial configuration, logging and reporting, everything is managed by management plane. Okay, so for example, I'll just scroll down. Okay, this is one of the hardware device management plane. So if I say this one is a management which is written over there, which is written over here, is a management plane. So this section is divided as management plane, this one, and this one is divided as data plane. So why it is management plane is, on the management plane actually you can manage all your configuration. Suppose let's say you are creating a policy, you're creating a NAT rule or a routing policy, or maybe adding a service route. So all these configurations, and you need to commit that configuration on the device, so that your configuration needs to be added on the firewall. So all these configuration setups are handled by management plane. Okay. Now, next thing is, and also logging reporting. What is logging and reporting is nothing but, suppose let's say you,
Bhagyashree, sorry for interrupting you.
yeah,
Sorry
yes,
for
tell me.
interrupt. Can you please repeat it again? You just show me that a console cable and something now. So can you please repeat again, please?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, as you
Yeah,
can
I'm here.
see, I was saying the firewall has two planes, right? One is control plane and other one is data plane. Okay. Uh, just let's do like this. Mm. Yeah, so I mean, this is the architecture of the Palo Alto Firewall, and I was trying to show you how on the hardware device it looks like. So, as you can see, this is a control plane and this is a data plane, right? So, here you can actually segregate on the hardware device which is control plane and which is data plane. So this part is control plane and this part is data plane. What is control plane? As I told, on the control plane you can actually this is a management setting. You can actually uh, try to plug in the cable and connect to your device when the device is new, and then you configure IP address and all these things. So, and also the HA settings like high availability. Suppose let's say you want to build a two firewalls which is in active passive mode, right? So what is active passive? So if one firewall goes down, the other firewall needs to be up, right? So if this firewall is up, if active firewall is goes down, the passive firewall is still up. Why this concept? Because of any kind of firewall fault, or maybe if the firewall is going for a reboot or something, your business should not get interrupted. The traffic should still pass through your firewall towards the internet. If the firewall won't be able to process those traffic, but then none of your users are able to try to reach to the internet, right? So for that reason, to continue the business, we have this active passive setup. If this firewall goes down, the other firewall is still up and it should process that traffic. So all the HA settings, configurations, and logging and reporting. So these all things are managed on control plane, and we call it as management plane as well. Okay. And now next comes to data plane. What is data plane? So suppose let's say you have trust interface, untrust interface, and you're basically all these traffics. So you can see 1, 2, 3 numbers, right? So these are data plane interfaces. So you can configure them as a trust, untrust, or DMZ, VPN. So all these different interfaces that you have. Okay. And on the data plane, the signature matching happens on the data plane. Security processing happens on the data plane. Application ID, user ID. So all these things will be processed on the data plane, and also the network processing. Like I said, all these traffics, trust, untrust, VPN, all these traffics that needs to be traveled through one of the interface, right? So those interface, if we configure those as untrust, trust, or VPN, those traffic is managed on the data plane. So this is basically a difference between the data plane is nothing but which handles your different network traffic, like for example, interface traffic, trust, untrust, and also it is a security process. It also processes security like app ID, signature matching, user ID traffic. So all these traffics are managed on the data plane. On the control plane, your management traffic will be handled, like any configurations, logging and reporting, and your HA traffic, high availability traffic, is managed on the control plane. Is that understand? Like, let me know if you have any questions. Okay. All right. So let me show you how we do the setup in our lab environment. So that so we set up this Palo Alto lab on EVNG. So you, if you have a system 16 GB 4-core CPU, then you can build a Palo Alto firewall in your own. So we need all like a simple VMware workstation player and WinSCP applications, Putty and Wireshark. So we need these kind of tools or maybe setup to have the Palo Alto lab. So, I mean, this is just an example how we need to check our processors under Task Manager. If you go ahead and see here, you see the logical processors over here, and then where to check a memory. Again, under Task Manager memory, you can see actually where what exactly memory you have. And next thing is you need to download a VMware workstation. So it's just a simple setup. You just need to like click and apply. Um, and then install. So, and after that, once the VMware workstation is installed, you see these two adapters are added, these two networks are added. So, like, just take a note of these things once it is installed, so that later on, when we are connecting the firewall to the internet, we will need to use these things. So that's why I just took a screenshot so that I may need it later as well. So under, and then this is all, and in the WinSCP we need to put a Palo Alto image, and that Palo Alto image we need to run on the firewall. So this is my VMware workstation, and then my VMware workstation got this IP address 192.168.152.128. Once it got the IP address, so what I did, I just tried to log in here through my EVNG setup. And under the EVNG setup, right click, if you add a node, I have added a Palo Alto image. So I'll get an option to add a Palo Alto firewall here. Okay. So as of now, I don't need it. I'll delete this one.
Ageshri, can I ask one question?
Yes, sure.
So this setup is for a specific company, or every company have their different environment to set up network
This is just
systems,
a lab
users, and all
setup.
with.
No, this is just a lab setup. Anyone can install this setup. It's not specific to any organization or anything. So what I did exactly is, um, this is a Palo Alto firewall, right? And this is on net is nothing but my VMware player. And from my VMware player, I directly connected this to my PC. So this is my system, so that I can access the firewall through my system. That's it, nothing much.
So if there is a initial setup for a small organization, so
Hmm.
we follow the same process, or there is some specific thing that company expecting.
This is
I'm asking
actually a
about
same
the.
set. Yeah, this is same setup
This
that
is
you can do.
if, for example, if I go for some XYZ company,
Hmm.
so so the process, how we'll process,
Okay, so for
or
that,
from where we can able to start.
okay. So if you understand the OSI model, what is there in layer one? Layer ones are cables, right?
Yeah.
What are the layer two devices?
Um, I don't remember. Way, it's a first class only today. I
Yeah,
know
sure.
said
All right,
network
no
layer,
problem.
but
So
I
on the
need to
layer two, we have
oh,
switch. Okay. On layer three, what we have? Router, right? And on layer four, it's like a transport protocol. It will decide TCP or UDP. And then on layer five, it's application layer. So there we can place application layers like maybe FTP or SMTP
TCP.
or HTTPS. So these are all application layer. So first, whenever there is a like if there is a organization, how the infra will be. So the on first on the layer two, it will be switch, and then on router layer three, and then firewall. So here you will have users, from users to switch, right? From switch to router, from router to firewall, and then you will connect towards the internet. This is a typical
Still a
setup of
company, anyone
any
company using HubSpot.
yeah, if hub, then you replace the router and switch with a hub.
So now using
What
company
is,
switch na.
sorry,
I'm asking now companies are using switch or hub.
switch? Because what is the concept of hub that you understand?
Hub means we can say we can connect multiple users. There is some limit of users, no?
Even switch also
0 to
has
9,
limit of
0
users.
to 9 or
So hub
something.
is it just broadcasts the packets, right? So whenever you send a packet to hub instead of switch, if you have a hub device here, so what hub will do is just broadcast the device to every other device that it has. It won't see what is the destination. It's just broadcast unnecessary. So there are a lot of packets that might be landing on your next device. So that's the reason most of the companies now have been replaced with switch. Okay, so this is a concept of hub. Hub is a broadcast device which just broadcast all of your packets. We don't call it packets, we call it frames on the layer 2. We call packets on firewall. On
Uh, Bhageshri, can you please show me how we can check the layers in here? Can we able to see the layers?
where
This you saw now L2, L3, L4, L5.
mhm, that we
Can we
can
see
see
that
on
where
the
we can
Wireshark.
see that one?
Those we can see on the Wireshark. So for example, you are troubleshooting some issues. Suppose let's say the issue is one of your user is not able to connect to the internet. So he says that the user is complaining that he is not able to connect to the internet, but his colleague or the person who is sitting next to him is able to reach to the internet. Okay, how will you
Okay.
troubleshoot? What is the basic first step that you take?
Firstly, we will check whether the LAN cables is correct now, whether Wi-Fi is installed or not.
Exactly.
There
So
will
what
be
is that? That is layer one. If you go from the OSI model, that is layer one. What you will do first, you will verify physical connectivity, the physical layer. Understood?
yeah.
And then what is the second layer in OSI model? So that's why it is very important to understand the OSI model and TCP/IP model when you start with your career or when you have wanted to upskill yourself. So OSI model and TCP/IP models are like uh, the very basic things for networking. So either you troubleshoot or you learn firewall from level 1 to maybe uh, level 4, or maybe if you are want to become a consultant or something, you still need OSI model and TCP IP model as a fundamentals. So even if I'm talking to my customers, or even if I'm trying to uh, build any infrastructure, so those two fundamentals will always come handy, and I always follow those steps, those process to troubleshoot, to build an infrastructure, in fact. So the first thing what you will do while troubleshooting, you'll always first physical layer. The next layer, what you will understand that the physical layer is all good. You have LAN cable connectivity, all good. The cable is connected properly. You have light blinking on the PC, and what you will try to check next? Layer 2, right? What layer 2 has
Yeah.
switch. So you will verify whether that LAN cable is in correct VLAN or not. Right. So what you need to learn in this, you need to learn how switch works. What is the fundamental of the switch? What is VLAN? Right. So if you know these concepts, then you can troubleshoot layer 2 issues. So let's say that layer 2 is also sorted. You came across that it's correct VLAN, everything is proper on the switch side. The switch is also broadcasting its packet, whatever it is getting from the user, right? What you will do next, you will go through layer 3. In layer 3, router. So what router will do, router will route the packets. It will check source IP address, destination IP address, and then it will route the traffic. It will basically create a routing table in its device, right? So what it will, so on the router, you will see whether the routing table is present for this source or not, the user who is complaining. So for that user, the IP address is that IP address is present on that routing table or not. So you will verify that routing table, and you got to know that the routing is correct. You have all the things there in place on layer 3. Okay, now next what you will do, you'll check on the firewall, whether the firewall is blocking the traffic or not. So whenever the user is complaining that he is not able to reach to the internet, you will not directly go to the firewall and verify. First, you need to go step by step, verify all the layers, and then reach to the firewall. And on the firewall, you
Bhagyashree,
can actually, yes.
Bhagyashree, sorry for it. So in switch, what issue we can see in switch, and how we can check what issues is for example, if we check the everything physical things is going good, physical things is good. For example, wire is connected well, and no charging and everything is okay. Okay, then in switch, what we will check?
That's what I told. You will see whether that is correct VLAN or not. What you will configure on the switch, you will configure a VLANs, right? So you will
So
verify.
it's in switch we will see the connectivity.
Yeah, when you log into the switch, you will see that this device is in which VLAN.
Okay.
Okay. And also you will see that the switch will broadcast the packets, right? So whether the packet is going forward or not, what it will do, it will learn the MAC address, right?
Yeah.
So it sees source MAC address and destination MAC address. So you'll verify that. Understood?
Yeah.
All right. Any questions? Yeah. Let's, okay. I hope you guys got a little bit idea of the basics of networking, how it works. So let's start with, again, come back to the firewall and then how I did this setup. I would just like to explain you what kind of a setup is this. It's just a simple setup. I just built a Palo Alto firewall here, and this net is nothing but my VMware network. So I just connected my VMware network uh, to this Palo Alto firewall. But for the Palo Alto firewall, I need to get internet, right? How I'll get internet? So what I did, I connected this through whatever my PC network is, right? So for example, um, Okay. So if I do IP config, so we will get to know all the IP information, basic IP information of my system. So you see here, this Ethernet adapter, oh, this one. Okay, yeah, this one. This is my Wi-Fi network, which is 198.168.0.15. And if you see, this is my VMware network, right? So 192.168.152.1. And the same thing, this is my VMware network, 192.168.158. So since these two are in same network, I got my firewall IP address also in the same network, so that I can connect directly from my system to internet to this firewall. So I no need to, I mean, the other way of connecting to the firewall is you can have a Windows machine over here, and then through this Windows machine, you can access the firewall. So this is one of the other method, but I felt this one is easy, but you can follow any of the method. It's both are very simple. It's not that tedious, and it's very simple to set up, nothing much to do. It's just that adding a device on your system. That's it. Okay. So any questions in the setup? You guys can ask. All right, so let me show you guys how the Palo Alto Firewall GUI looks like. Okay, so once you suppose, let's say you got a brand new device from your company and you have tried to log into that, added a management interface. Remember management plane and the control plane, data plane that I told. So if you consider, if you compare that with here, so if you see the management plane is here, and the same thing I have connected to my management interface over here. So this is a management interface in the hardware that it looks like. So it's just like I have connected from this management interface to my system. So I just took a direct connection. Okay. And once you get the connection, so what you will do, you will actually assign an IP address to the device. But in my case, since my VMware is, uh, I have hosted on the VMware, so I assigned it by default, the Palo Alto firewalls will receive IPs via DHCP servers. So if there is no DHCP servers, then you need to add it manually, which is a static IP address. So in my case, I got it from the DHCP server, which is from my VMware network. Okay. So in the dashboard, what all the things that we can see. So this is interface configuration. Okay. So in the interface, these are all interfaces are data plane. If you can compare these things, these are all data planes, right? So the same data planes are here. These are all data planes. And this is my management configuration. Why management configuration is because I directly connected this through my PC. I just told you in my previous diagram, right? So it's just directly connected through my PC. Now, next thing is what uh, what other information that we can see on the firewall is here. You can see the one more important thing that we need to observe is what is the software version. So it is currently 9.0.4. So what I mean, currently the Palo Alto firewalls are running on 11.0. This is quite older one. The newer Palo Alto version 10.1 looks little new. Okay. And other than that, I think someone is trying to write something. Sunil, do you have any questions? All right. So let's see system resources. I showed you here the management plane, data plane, right? So each of these planes have a particular CPU allocated to that. Why? Because to perform those tasks. So here in the management plane, you can see currently it is consuming 16%. Why? Because I have just tried to log in here and then trying to manage this. But data plane CPU is 1% because there are no data planes configured here. I haven't configured any data planes. So if any of the interfaces are configured, it will show green. If it is up, it will show green. If it is down, it will show red, as like switch and routers, similar thing. But if it is not configured, it will show in the gray, the same thing. And other important aspects that we need to see here is the model. As you can see, this is a VM model, so it shows PAVM. If it is a hardware, then it would have shown the PA 800, 820, PA like 3250, whatever the series that you have. Okay. And the next thing is the next important thing is to observe what is the uptime of the firewall. Why uptime we need to observe? Because if you have got any issues that someone is saying that it is not processing any traffic, or the firewall is not transferring any of the packets, users are not connecting towards the internet or any of your internal network, at that point, you may have to come and see if the firewall has been rebooted recently or not. Just to have a glance. And then later on, you can go and see the other monitor logs. And here you can see session counts. Whenever the firewall is processing a traffic, passing a traffic, it will create a session on its session table. So I'll explain you once we start the sessions, like once we start our training, um, how the session creates, what is the life of a packet on a firewall, what exactly happens when the packet hits to the firewall. So it goes through different layers, and then later it just exit the firewall. So that thing we will further study in our future classes. So the data plane is currently 1%. Yeah, that's because we actually don't have any other traffic on the firewall. So this is all about the dashboard. And the second next thing, once you get a firewall in your hand, is go to device and then management. Under the general settings, you will try to change the host name, domain, date and time. Uh, so these all things you will configure based on the company requirement. And the next thing is interface and management. So this is the management configuration again. So currently my device is on the DHCP. I got a IP address from the DHCP, so it is a DHCP client. If I need to configure it on the static, I can give a static IP address over here, like IP address, netmask, gateway. So how you will give static IP address based on what is your network. So suppose, let's say if your company is in your 10 network, your system and the firewall needs to communicate with each other, right? At least for the initial one, until and unless you do some configuration. So for that reason, you need to be on a same network. So you can give whatever the same network that you have for your company. So this is all about the management interface configuration. Currently, I'm on DHCP, so I'll keep it as DHCP. So the next thing is permitted IP address. What permitted IP address is nothing but who can access this device, right? So if you want to add your colleague's name or maybe your manager IP address, so whoever you want to give a permission to them to access this management interface, you can give access here. If you don't give access, then it's allow all. Okay, that's the concept in the firewall. And next important thing that you need to understand is services. So what services is, the Palo Alto Firewall will always try to communicate with updates.paloaltonetworks.com. So why? Because you will have this antivirus subscription, wildfire, content ID, user ID inspection. So all these different um, uh, databases, these needs to be connected with this server, because every day and every week those databases will update and those contents will be pushed to the firewalls all over the whatever the firewalls that you have. It's actually all over the world. So to keep your firewall up to date, it's always important to have this update server always in reach. So you need to configure, you need to make sure this is in reach whenever you are configuring a firewall. So this is just a basic idea, like how we configure a firewall, what exactly the things that we need. But in detail, we are actually going to study in future. And the service routes as well. The very important concept in the Palo Alto Firewall is service route configuration. So either you can keep it management interface or customer interface. So this is also like why we need to keep management, why we need to customize. So there's like a very big concept over on this as well. So if I even try to explain you in a shorter time, it will be little difficult. Now, if we have, do we have time? Amma? Okay, I'm not sure how much time I have. So let me show you some of the commands that we, uh, basic commands that we use on the firewalls. So this is a GUI of the firewall, and then now I'm trying to connect SSH connection, which is secure shell, right? So whenever you're trying to connect on the SSH, so you will connect through the PuTTY session. So that I just connected through the PuTTY session, and I'll try to add my credentials. It is always important to understand what are the features that we have in GUI and what features we can do on the CLI. So majorly people will always manage the firewall through the CLI, but the Palo Alto is very simple and easy to understand from the GUI as well. So you can consider uh, knowing both of these. So this, I mean, few things like once you log into the CLI, what you can do is show system info. Sorry. So what this show system info, whatever the general information that we had here, the same thing, uh, we can see all different informations, but with actually more information that we can see on the CLI. So this is about show system info. And then the next thing, what you will check whether the firewall will reach to the internet or not. So you can do ping host 8.8.8. Okay, and then you can see the firewall response. And one more thing is when you make any changes on the firewall, there is a commit that creates on the firewall, right? So if I suppose, let's say, I'm making some changes and then I'll commit on this. So you can do review changes and then see what are the changes that you have done. So I just removed one from my text. So it changes what were the changes earlier and what changes made. So that's what the running configuration and the candidate configuration. This is also kind of very important in terms of interviews. So, or I mean, it is always important to know about what is running configuration and what is candidate configuration. Okay, so the running configuration, the configuration which is running under the firewall, and the candidate configuration which is about to get commit. I haven't committed it, but I'll commit now. Okay, that is about preview changes and validate commit. Before I before I actually commit, I can validate those commits, and you can actually see those commits over here. What is um, what is the percentage? You can see the first one is pending, right? Shows maybe. Okay. Let me know if any of you have questions or if you're not able to understand or if I'm going quite fast. Uh,
Bhagyashree.
yes, please.
So one thing, can you please repeat that one, the candidate and
Yeah, sure.
committed session?
All right. I'll show. Okay. So just have a look for now. So whatever the commit that we do, we call it as jobs on the firewall. Okay. So what I did, I just ran command show jobs all. So when we ran show jobs all, we see these all things. So the last two are finished, right? This one is pending. What is the type of that? Which is validate. So this is pending and which is of 0%. And I ran again, it is 55%. So if I run again, it is like finish, right? So the validate has been finished. Now let's understand again what is candidate config and what is running config. So the running configuration is nothing but the before commit, whatever the changes that we have, the currently running configuration, which is present already on the firewall, is running configuration. I made a change. I'm about to commit. I haven't committed yet. I'll commit now. So that commit it will that change that it will show, which is candidate config.
Okay. So there
Yeah.
is one more thing we always do with the putty software.
Mhm.
Something like if IP is invisible, something like that case. So that will
IP.
be check here only, or we will check.
What exactly IP invisible?
IP means sometimes the user IP will not be visible in.
Where?
Actually, I'm not sure. There is a one query actually. So far, someone asked me about that. The IP is invisible. How you will make it to the visible user ID? The user IP is invisible something, or server IP is invisible something.
Okay. I'll come to that point. There's a whole different concept called user IP mapping on the Palo Alto firewalls. So that I'll come to that part later. It's actually you can uh, authenticate your LDAP server to your Palo Alto firewall so that what all the users who are trying to authenticate can be seen on the Palo Alto firewall. So I'll come to that later. So you can see on this firewall to the commit, you can either commit all changes or commit made by me. So you can do both the options. And the second thing is validate commit, right? So this is just we just now did this. Mm. Now I'll do the commit. Okay. I'll come back and then I'll see what are the jobs which are pending. You can see now there is a commit going on, right? So what is the job ID for that? Is 6. So you can track a progress of that commit on the CLI session. The same thing on the GUI session, you can track, but on the CLI session, if it is stuck anywhere or if it is failed, you will get a details why it is failed. Even on the GUI also you will get. And one more thing, whenever we are committing, I told these configurations commits will be taken care by management CPU. So whenever we are committing something, so the management CPU will increase. So it might have got to up to 50-60% because this is just a small device that I have. It depends on what is the type of a device that you want. Based on that, the CPU utilization will vary.